The Locks DFS MLB breakdown. I'm going to be breaking down this 13-game MLB Tuesday slate. I'm Christian Hardy from locksdfs.com. We are a provider of basically DFS content. We break down all of our favorite plays and that sort of thing on our lock sheets, give you guys our favorite locks of the day, and give position rankings and ratings on every single player that we are considering in cash and GPP that day. So if you don't know about us, check us out, locksdfs.com. We have month passes and year passes options there. With all that said, I also want to mention, be sure to like and comment on this video right below. If you comment and subscribe, you'll have a chance to win a free season pass. Every Monday, we give away a free season pass to a commenter who also subscribes. So comment with your favorite stack, comment with your home run call, comment with anything you'd like, anything that contributes positively to the slate and to the comment section below. We really appreciate that, and likes help us as well. Lastly, I'll mention that you can follow me on Twitter @byhardy. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these videos. Me and Andy are going to be switching off on MLB breakdowns, so you'll be seeing a lot more of me tweet about DFS, sports, the norm. So you can give me a follow there @byhardy. If you don't know who I am already, there I am there. And without all that said, let's go ahead and just get right into the slate. We've got the top pitching option on the slate. The top price are going to be Strasburg and Berrios. I have more interest in Noah Syndergaard going up against San Diego. The team total actually just dropped to 3.2 on San Diego. Noah's going to be facing a bevy of righties. Should be 8 in the lineup, including the pitcher. Hosmer should be the only lefty he faces. He does fare a bit better against righties. And the Padres are striking out at the league high rate of around 28.5% against right-handed pitchers this year. Noah has been on the bad side of BABIP a little bit this year, but he still gets 55% ground ball rate versus righties. Ks are up versus righties. He's got a 12% swinging strike rate against both hands. So definitely going to be your top cash option, your top SB1 option. Going to be Noah Syndergaard today at 10.1 on DraftKings. And we can kind of move on from there, but I definitely think he is the top pitching option on the slate. After that, ownership, we're going to see a lot of ownership go toward Lester. John Lester going up against Miami, and Colin McHugh against Kansas City. I'll jump into Lester first. Miami's coming in with a 2.9 implied run total against Lester, who's coming in at 9K on DraftKings. Lester's got a really good pitching environment here. 45 degrees. Winds blowing in from dead center, 12 miles per hour. You can see here on the left of my screen on the lineups page. Miami, they are actually striking out a lot less versus lefties. You can see a right-handed heavy lineup. So they usually will try to get that. Obviously they're trying to get the bat on the ball. They'll usually get the bat on the ball against lefties. That said, Lester's got a solid swinging strike rate of around 9% and has actually has a much stronger K rate against righties this year. XFIP's on both sides under 3.5, so we're not too worried about bad contact here against Miami. No one that we're too fearful of in this lineup. Again, the strikeout upside for Lester isn't great, which is why I kind of want to talk about the other side of this game as well. In Caleb Smith at 9.5K. He is expensive at 9.5, but we see the Cubs at a 3.7 run total. We have Smith at a massive 16.8 swinging strike rate. I believe he hit like over 20% in his last game. Dude is just filthy. 3.7 run total. Lots of respect for Smith, and he's gonna have that same pitcher's environment, 45 degrees, wind blowing in as Lester has. So if you're looking for K upside, Smith is gonna get you there. If you're looking for a safer cash option, I think Lester is the guy you're going to go to in this game. I think both are very good pitching options on this slate. And then the last guy I want to talk about in pitching is, actually I have two other guys. I'll touch on one more very briefly. One is Colin McHugh at 8.2. As I mentioned, he's getting a good bit of ownership against these Royals at 3.7. Royals not a team that strikes out a ton, around 22% against righties this year. First 6 in this lineup are all pretty good hitters, all over 100 WRC pluses. Going back to last year, so they all can make contact with the ball, do pretty well, and like I said, don't strike out a ton. That said, McHugh's pretty cheap at 8.2. We've seen him a lot more expensive, 9.3, 8.8, 8.8 earlier in the year on DraftKings. He's got an 11% swinging strike rate, which is above the average. And as I mentioned, the Royals are K'ing at about around a 22% rate, which is solid for McHugh. You should be able to find some strikeouts in this lineup. McHugh, extremely low BABIP to both hands. And, that could regress a little bit up. but he's also got low xFIPs to both hands. It's tough. I find it tough to pick on the Royals just because they're on a ton of strikeouts, and it is a pretty good lineup. But the run total is at 3.7. I definitely got some interest in McHugh or 8.2 to save you some salary, get you a few extra bats if you go down from Lester. So those are going to be your top SP1 options. And I wanted to mention one other guy in GPP, and that's going to be Griffin Canning, one of the Angels' top prospects who's going to make another start today, going up against these Tigers who just strike out a lot. Canning came in with a 22% swinging strike rate in his last game, got a ton of whiffs. He did the same really through the minors. That's why he ascended so fast. He's got 4 pitches. 3 of them are plus pitches with a slider, a changeup, curveball, and, of course, his fastball. He struck out 6 and walked 1 in his first start in major leagues last week against, I believe it was Toronto. Yep. Going up against the Tigers team that struck out the 5th most versus right-handed pitching this season. The only concern with Canning is the limited upside. You're getting an 8.5K. He only threw 82 pitches, went through the order twice in his first time on the mound. So don't know how much we're going to get out of Canning. But if you are looking for some K upside, Canning is there. I do prefer the K upside of Smith a little bit more. But Canning can definitely get you there at 5. I'm just concerned about how long he's going to be able to go in this game. And I haven't heard about them wanting to stretch him out anymore, although I haven't done a ton of in-depth research on that yet. So if you want to know more on that, of course, check out the lock sheet. We'll be in more in-depth on all these guys. But those are kind of some of the guys I'm looking at on this slate. With that all said, let's kind of get to some of the hitter spots. And the 2 hitter spots on this slate in terms of teams are very obvious. We have the Red Sox, who I'm going to start out with, at 5.9 runs, going up against one of the worst pitchers in the league, starting pitchers in the league, in David Hess. Only a 7% swinging strike rate, a 6.3 xFIP to right-handed bats, including a 62% fly ball rate and 83% hard or medium contact rate to righties. So, dude just doesn't miss bats, gives up bad contact. I mean, it's a spot that it's pretty obvious to target. We've got Mitch Moreland batting cleanup. We've got JD, Mookie, and Benny right above him. All those guys are in play. Bogey's in play at the 5 hole, and you've got Jackie Bradley down here at 8th at 3.2K. They continue to not price him up, batting 8th, but he is hitting pretty solid this year. And again, Hess doesn't miss bats, so I think Bradley has a decent amount of floor here at 3.2K, and it makes sense as a guy who you can spend down on a 5.9 run total. My favorite guy is probably gonna be JD on this team, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in a little bit in the home run call section. Hint, hint. So yeah, I mean, all those Red Sox make sense. Hess is an absolute gas can. He's got a bad bullpen behind him as well. So love the Red Sox today. Second, you've got the Astros going up against Danny Duffy. Duffy has actually lowered his fly ball rate. He's been a career fly ball pitcher. I don't expect that to last. He's got a 50% ground ball rate so far this season in his 2 starts coming off injury. I don't think that's going to last. He's got a tough park shift here. The Astros team totals up from 5-1 to 5-9. We don't have a lineup yet, but it should come out as we're seeing here on this screen. This is usually the lineup the Astros run out against the lefties. You're going to have 2 cheap guys down here in Gurriel and Tyler White, but who I'm most interested in is Jose Altuve, who should be the most popular option at second base at 4.3K against Danny Duffy. Really good right-handed batters on this team against Duffy, who, again, career has given up a ton of hard hit, ton of fly ball, and gets a negative park shift going to Minute Maid Park. So really like that. Roof's going to be closed, but that shouldn't really affect things too much. Still really like all of these righties and that big run total. Like I said, all these righties you can play in cash, but Altuve is going to be my preference there at second base. Outside of that, you got cheap first base options. We're going to get to more cheap first base options in Gurriel and White. And Chirinos is probably going to be my favorite cash catcher option if you can get to him at 3.9K. Of course, it's always an option to spend down a catcher, which is what I tend to do if I have to pay it for pitching. But since we're looking at more middling pitching options today in terms of price, you can definitely consider a guy like Chirinos in your catcher spot. With those 2 spots taken out, those are the 2 very clear spots to target on the slate. I wanted to mention this game right here in Coors, which is always going to be something we talk about. It's a pretty low total for Coors today. 5-2 for the Rockies, 4.9 implied for the Giants. Really love these Colorado one-offs against Madison Bumgarner, who gives up 40% hard hit. Actually, he gives up, about 40% hard hit, about 40% fly ball, and a ton of medium contact to boot. So you're going to look at guys like Trevor Story and Arenado, who are really 2 of the best hitters in the league when you're facing lefties at Coors Field. Arenado career at home versus lefties, 178 WRC plus, 378 ISO, 484 WOBA. Story's even better, 168 WRC plus, 440 ISO, 471 WOBA. Those are career numbers. Just absurd versus lefties at home. I mean, these guys are crazy. So you can get one of those guys in your lineup. It makes a lot of sense. And then once you have one of them in your lineup, you can start looking at guys like Mark Reynolds and Ian Desmond, maybe Chris Iannetta, or however this lineup comes out. All these riders are going to be in play against Bumgarner, who gives up that much bad contact against righties in a park where that's not going to play well for Bumgarner. So those Rockies make a lot of sense. You can definitely make a stack. I'm not too keen on a full stack, but I'm also not against it, just because there are better teams you can fully stack on this slate. And then on the other side, we do have a guy in Antonio Senzatella who gets a ton of soft contact. He does very well with run management, but we're still looking at the Giants in Coors Field, who really aren't priced up quite as much as they should be. They are priced up a bit, but still have a lot of interest here. And we don't have a lineup yet, so it's tough to talk about. But they have a 4.9 implied run total in Coors. If we get and it's hard to project this lineup because we don't know if Duggar's going to play. We don't know if Longoria is going to play. Sometimes they'll run out of Sandoval anyway. So we'll just have to kind of see. But regardless, we're going to see some prices on Gerber if he bats second. I like. He's a prospect. He hasn't hit the ball too well early in his career, but still someone I have interest in that price if he's batting second. Brandon Belt, a very, very good hitter. Senzatella isn't going to miss bats. Belt probably going to put the ball in the air. That's going to play well in Coors. He's 4.4K. Very, very fair price on Belt there. And also on Crawford at shortstop. If you're not paying up for a guy like Story, Crawford at 3.9 adds a lot of power versus righties. He makes a lot of sense at shortstop at under 4K, even against a guy in Senzatella who does manage his contact pretty well. So we'll just have to see how this lineup kind of plays out here and kind of see what happens with that. But definitely going to have some interest in the Giants. I mentioned in my notes, I kind of skipped over him when I went to Colorado. It's going to be Bryce Harper at 4.5K again versus Dakota Hudson. He's actually faced 75 left-handed bats this year, and he's given up 7 home runs. Obviously, that's a rate that's not going to last, but he's also a guy who gives up over 80% hard plus medium contact to lefties. XFIP, I believe, is 5.6 XFIP to lefties this year. So he's a guy who gets mashed by lefties. Obviously, Bryce is a lefty. It's a tough park shift for him, but still, Dakota Hudson's a guy who we love targeting versus lefties. He makes a ton of sense as a one-off at this price at 4.5K. Of course, it disappointed me yesterday, kind of like JD. Both of them drop zeros as chalky outfielders, but both should be chalky again today, and both have great matchups again today. Even, I would actually say better matchups today than yesterday for both. So definitely don't be afraid to run those guys out again today, even if they disappointed you yesterday. And with all of let's kind of go into the home run calls now. And I mentioned that we're going to get back to JD, and that is where I'm going to go. JD Martinez is going to be my expensive home run call today. There's lots of guys to go to in this top range, as there usually is. But I'll take the guy who I'm pretty sure if he gets 2-3 at-bats against David Hess, he's going to make good contact all 3 times. And a guy who hits the righties a little bit better than lefties. Really tons of power on both sides. I mean, it's JD Martinez. Positive park shift. Wind's blowing out to left center. Really, really love it for JD Martinez. And my cheap option is going to be someone I hadn't talked about, and I just saw this at the run total. That's including a 5.12 xFIP to lefties. Not a good park, but this is still an awesome spot for Joey Votto at 3.5K. Probably just a little bit cheaper than he should be. And it's pretty tough to find power under 4K today. You've got Carp under 4K, but he's coming up against Aaron Nola. So they both make sense, but my call is going to be Votto at 3.5K at first base. We've got lots of cheap first base options, but Votto is going to be one that is really interesting to me in this matchup. With all that said, if you want more plays, go to locksdfs.com. We have month passes. We have season passes in there, and you'll get access to our member Slack chat. You'll get access to our lock sheet, which, break down all of our favorite plays on the site. Here is the Slack from last night. At the end of the night, we kind of like to post our winnings and how the slate went, talk about how the slate went. And that's kind of how it goes. So definitely get a pass, get in the Slack, check out our lock sheets. Really appreciate it. And don't forget to comment and like this video. Comment on this video, like it, subscribe, and you get a chance to win a free season pass from Locks DFS, and you won't even have to pay for a season pass. So yeah, check us out. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast and another video from Maddie. That's it for me, Christian Hardy, @ByHardy on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys then.